What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the D.O.G podcast. As always, I'm Drew with German, and OC is semi here today. As you can see, German's holding his microphone because our good friend OC left his at home. So they're going to play pass back, a little hot potato with the microphone today, as we talk about, you guessed it, more NFL.
So what's your joke?
No, it's got to be a joke that it's going to come later.
Oh, come on,
No,
man.
I'm not just
You
gonna
just
go
gonna
for
start
it.
off with
Yeah,
it
no.
hot. OC, what do you think about the games this weekend?
Sorry, this is my fault.
Wait, German,
All right.
did you say something?
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
All right, well, let's start with Thursday, Thanksgiving Day games.
Sure. That's a great day to start.
And how boring they were.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
what was
yeah,
that?
How boring they were.
Hold on,
Here, let me get
what did you
my 3 cents
We're
in.
gonna have to have a timer.
Okay,
say?
the Lions.
You got a 24-second shot
Okay, the
clock.
Lions looked like they were lost. They had lost 8 straight on Thanksgiving Day, and
They
we
look
thought,
like exactly who we thought they were.
and we thought this was like the year where they would, kind of like show up on Thanksgiving. Didn't happen.
Nope.
Uh,
I
afternoon
think it
game.
was coaching.
Deron Bland, shout out, right?
Big shout out Fresno State. Go Cowboys.
Dallas looked good. And then the night game, San Francisco dominated, right? That defense looked good. The offense looked really good. Debo really got back into the offense. Yeah, so that's the Thanksgiving Day games. That's my recap. I'll pass it back to German.
Thank you, OC, for that generous recap. The Lions won. It came down to Jared Goff, right? It had to. Because he turned the ball over so many times.
Well, I mean, how many times did they go for it on fourth down when they did not need to go for it?
That was another thing.
That's why I was saying it was coaching. Like, when you lose by one touchdown and you were like 1 for 6 on fourth down, it's like, why? You should have won the game by a lot more than what you really did. Punt the ball. Obviously, the Packers didn't have anything going for them in the second half. You don't got to keep going for it.
Right.
Just wait and one more drive and you're going to score.
Right, because there were certain situations where they could have punted the ball. There was enough time on the clock. And then there were situations where if they would have kicked the field goal, right? Like it would have been like, okay, now you're only down by a field goal in this situation, right? So, yeah, it was kind of weird, the decision making. But, I mean, what is it? You live by the big plays. You die by the big plays? Kind of the same deal.
So then, like you guys talk about turnovers, right?
The possession arrow has changed to OC.
It's on my side now. Anyways, that's a good point. So people praise Dan Campbell for his taking chances in games, right?
He's just like the coach version of Josh Allen.
So that but this is where he gets ridiculed because it didn't work out, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the game, it ended up being a 7-point game. So you think about all those drives that ended inside the red zone, and that could have been the difference with field goals, or maybe they wouldn't have needed a touchdown at the end. Could have just kicked the field goal to win it, That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
Is that all you have to say?
No,
You sure?
no rebuttal from you?
No.
But, I mean, overall, the games are kind of boring, right? Kind of disappointing.
Cowboys game wasn't boring.
It was pretty boring. It
wasn't. No.
Objectively, dude, it
No.
was boring. I would even admit that the Niner game and Seattle game, the first half was boring.
That game was boring.
They were demolishing them.
We had guys breaking records in the Cowboy game. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
boring.
Anyways,
Did anyone break records in that Niner game?
No, but
Or
we
how about
almost,
the Lions
we
game?
almost broke Geno Smith's freaking elbow. He
Wait.
was not healthy. That was another thing. It was like the reason why it was such a big blowout is because
Guess
Geno
what?
Smith
He's
was
gonna
not
get
healthy.
worse this week.
Yeah, does he play this week?
He plays tomorrow. against
Yeah, no, I'm
Dallas.
saying, but like,
Oh,
you
yeah,
think
I
they
haven't
play
heard.
him?
I have. Yeah,
He hasn't
yeah.
heard anything
haven't
about
heard
him
anything
being
about him
questionable
not
or
playing.
anything like that, huh?
No. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah, dude,
Cowboys
he's
defense
gonna
is rolling.
He's gonna take a beating,
And I'm
100%.
really hoping tomorrow's the day that they announced that Shaq is gonna sign with the Cowboys. No, anyone?
Mm-mm.
No, you haven't seen that Shaq Leonard? Yeah,
Oh, Shaquille Leonard. Yeah. He's gonna visit the
he
Eagles.
visited the Eagles today. I'm hoping tomorrow
He's gonna
signs with us.
he's gonna sign with the Eagles.
It's really gonna.
You want to sign with a Super Bowl contender?
Yeah, it's a sign with Dallas.
Anyway, But yeah, I mean, Sunday games or the Black Friday game really wasn't interesting.
That game was even more boring.
Watching another backup quarterback.
Okay, give me the mic, dude. Hold on, dude.
All right, Papa Doc, settle down.
I'm not gonna sit there and let you insult the Dolphins like that. Cause
Was it entertaining? Because it was
yes,
pretty
it
fucking
was.
boring.
All right, well,
3-3 at half.
Cowboys,
Is that right?
Hey.
Hold on. Was that 3-3 going into half?
No, it's 10-6 at halftime.
Oh, okay.
No, wait. 17-6.
Hold on, let me pull this up right.
Because they had a Tyreek touchdown and
Okay,
then
you're right.
Javon Holland.
It was
99.
3-3 for like a good chunk of that first half.
Okay, yeah.
That's pretty fucking.
And
boring.
then Tim Boyle scored a touchdown for us, so that was generous of him.
At least Sam Howell put up some sort of competition against.
Well,
the
yeah, he
Cowboys.
leads the league in pass yards, or he's second.
I was really impressed with him.
Yeah, except for when he threw it to Deron Bland.
Dude, I'm telling you, I sent you that meme. Deron Bland putting on his the superhero goggles every time he sees an out route. There's a little meme.
Oh, because he breaks on it.
Yeah. Oh, dude, he jumps those routes like they're candy.
What was I gonna say? Well, Miami defense looked good, but again, it was the Jets offense.
Hey, the what is it? The Fail Mary?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Pick six? Yeah. But was it a record-breaking pick six? No.
No, it wasn't.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Is that the longest pick six?
No, I think there's been one that Sam Madison or Patrick Surtain had back in the day that was longer. But yeah, it was. I mean, for being the only game on, I mean, it was decent. So, according to you, it was boring.
I knew you were gonna jump at me because immediately in the group chat, I was like 3-3. This shit's boring. Within seconds, she's like, "Yeah, but you're watching it." No,
Yeah.
I was not.
That was the whole point of Black Friday football.
I just happened to. I was at work and I'm like, "Oh, that's right. There's football on. Let me look this up." I said 3-3.
Hey, that's all the NFL wants, though.
3-3.
You to check in.
Boring.
Niner recap.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the Black Friday game. Yeah, end of the day, dude. There's football on Friday, dude. NFL football on our day off. I'm watching it, dude. More football on probably the best holiday in our country, in my opinion, dude. Yeah, dude, 100%. Yeah, the Niner recap. I mean, nothing crazy. Just to say that, I mean, I guess you can say the Niners offense is back, right? Purdy seems to minimize the mistakes. He did have a pick, but it was like deflected over the middle or whatever to McCaffrey. McCaffrey's a dog. I mean, to come back after 3 days of rest to do what he did. I mean, it's just as time will tell, especially going into Philly this next coming week. That's the big one. Philly is a little beat up, right? They've come off a couple big games. And fucking Seattle, man. Like I said last week, they can go.
Dude, Brock Purdy threw for more touchdowns for the Seahawks than Geno Smith did.
Just one.
Yeah, just
yeah,
one.
just one.
That's it. He threw for more.
You're just gonna find every way to just badmouth the Dolphins or the Niners.
I didn't badmouth the Niners right now, did I?
Yeah, you did.
No, I just badmouthed Geno Smith.
Well, I guess. Still,
on,
man, you're always just taking shots, man.
That's what I do.
We gave a shout out to Bland. Dude.
I'm fucking Steph Curry.
We gave him.
How could you not
out,
shout that out?
But we gave him the shout out.
How could you not? Despite him, okay.
We could
first of
easily
all,
say it's been against shitty teams.
Yeah.
Okay
Yeah,
then.
no.
Okay then. But moving on. Any big time stories, big time injuries other than
Another MetLife injury, right?
right? Another big one, dude.
OC, go ahead.
What do you guys think?
The highlight of the game, not boring part.
That hurts. I could see it when I was watching it live. I seen him immediately go down. I'm like, oh no, that's not good. And then I texted my cousins, and I'm like, that has to be a season ender right there.
It's
and then,
another Achilles, right?
Yeah, it was his Achilles went out, and then they showed it. There's clips of him like talking to his teammates, saying how he just felt like someone shot him in the back of the heel, or like someone kicked him, and he couldn't put any pressure on it. Sucks because he was having a decent year, you know. He was starting to come on as an edge rusher and holding his own with Bradley Chubb on the other end. So that 1-2 punch was really good, and that sucks for him. But hopefully he gets on whatever Aaron Rodgers was on, because apparently he's coming back.
Let's talk about that. Aaron Rodgers at practice today.
21-day window, right?
At practice.
Let's see. German's ready for this.
Okay.
My
That
first
was-
big thing is why.
Okay,
Just
that was
why.
That was a good segue because I did hear a lot of people when they tear their Achilles. I've known a few people from back in the day that tear their Achilles, and they say they've all like gotten hit in the back of the calf or whatever. That's what it feels like. It feels like you're
something
getting
hits
kicked.
you really hard.
Aaron Rodgers coming back so fast out of whatever treatment he did or whatever that was. I'm starting to speculate that he never actually fully tore that Achilles.
Then what do you think happened? What do you think?
It might have been a partial tear. Like we gotta like see what's going on.
Nothing.
Can
Keep
you hear
going.
me? Or it might have been a partial tear. Maybe I just don't think it was a full tear. It might have been like a really high grade strain to where it just like it limited his movement altogether. But for it to be torn and for him to be coming back 3 months, like that's ridiculous, right? And then and you really think he's going to be able to play? And then like you said, like
Just
why?
That's all I want to know.
Why?
What is the need? You guys aren't making playoffs.
No, at
You're
this point,
absolutely
no.
not making playoffs. Your defense, which was the highlight of this team, right, is not even performing right now.
Right.
So what is the point? There's no trust anywhere. There's no love anywhere. There's just no point to play. Even if they won out, I think they need like 5 teams in front of them to fall. It doesn't make any sense.
Right. Do you think it's like we always go back to Rodgers and his quest for just media attention, even though he says he hates media attention, but he's on the Pat McAfee show every Tuesday.
Week. Hey,
he's like, I hate talking
Dak
to the
Prescott
media.
some love.
I mean, but then all that, and then as another thing too, maybe to give a big middle finger to the medical establishment, because remember this guy was like all anti-Pfizer, anti-vaccine.
Dude, maybe he's just like.
That was the dog bugging you?
Hi.
Get out of here. Go to the crate.
I'm like, what is up on me? Maybe he's on those like killer shrooms again, dude. He's got these healing
That's
powers.
Not healing your Achilles tendon.
He spent 8 days inside the forest, buried inside some tree.
There's no way. No, go ahead.
I went German on this. He's an attention-seeking person. For as much as he says, I don't want the media or I don't want it to be about me, it's always about him.
Mm-hmm.
Emmanuel Acho said it today. He's like, he's an attention seeker. Like, everything has to be about Aaron Rodgers. And he kept saying, like, you know, when this injury happened, you're about to see the fastest recovery, or you guys are gonna see something you've never seen before. So, like German said, I don't think he fully tore it. It was either partially torn or he never tore it at all.
The Jets obviously had a doctor like clear him, right? Like, or do you think that he's just like, I'm good, guys?
Well, it's funny today because like they opened up his 21-day window to practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he's gonna play at all these 3 weeks. It's just like, I don't know. He wants attention. It's funny how he'll come out and throw. He was throwing right after like
before
a month.
games and stuff like that.
How come we don't see any videos of him throwing at practice? Because he's not doing anything.
I want to see him like give me like the world's lightest jog. Show me that, and if you can do that, I can be like, okay, yeah, you're healing up. But I have not seen him do more than a walk.
Nope.
So that's why it makes zero sense.
These next couple of weeks, like you said, they're not gonna catch anybody. They're 4-7. They would literally have to win every game to even make a wild card. So
and then what? That would be 11-7. No, 10-7.
10-7.
10-7.
They'd have to win 6 straight.
I don't think. I mean, there's plenty of AFC teams out there that are going to do 10 or 7 or better.
Yeah. Especially the AFC North. Right. What do you got? Any other recaps of the weekend injuries? Another coach firing.
Oh,
Frank Reich.
That's
Frank Reich.
So that's something I kind of wanted to get into. That I was hanging on to that one.
Ooh, before I forget, let's talk about Staley after.
Okay, yeah, the coaching's firing.
Again.
But, okay, so that's what I wanted to ask you guys, right? So watching what's going on in Carolina and how Frank Reich only got he's only gotten a chance, 11 games and then got fired. First coach in what was it, NFL history to get fired back-to-back years? Something like that?
Jesus.
Like, because he got fired last year from Indianapolis and then this year from Carolina. Do you guys think it was a little too early?
Oh,
premature?
yeah, for sure. I think this is worse than the OC in Buffalo getting fired. I think that it's like, dude, your team is awful, and somehow it's the head coach's fault.
This is, I think, Tepper, the owner, just trying to salvage what a mess he made of the draft
By picking Young.
Yeah. And then he's like trying to sit there and defend his picks this week. Like, oh, yeah, well, I'm the one that said this. And then like trying to go back and say, well, we had a 3-team deal in place with the Texans, but they pulled out last second, so it didn't go through. Like trying to salvage something out of it. And then by basically blaming Frank Reich, who, yes, first time in NFL history, I think a head coach gets let go twice before the season ends.
I don't know.
Last year with the Colts and then this year with the Panthers.
I don't know what Andy Reid could have done with that team.
No.
Or McVay or Shanahan. I mean, the team is just bad.
Not
all
only that.
across the table.
Not only that, but they don't have their first-round draft pick because they traded it away.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears have it.
Yeah.
So, Dave Tepper, I mean, sure, sit there and defend yourself, but you're the one making the decisions, and I think it falls back on him.
I agree with you 100%. It is him saving face. Someone had to be the scapegoat for picking Young over Stroud. And let's not act like Young is going to be a bust now, right? I mean, his team is awful. Like, we don't even know what he's going to be. It's just, it's so disappointing to see how well C.J. Stroud is playing, knowing that you could have had him instead.
And I think that has a lot to do with probably the firing of Frank Reich. But, I mean, do we get another Brian Flores and Dolphin situation where it was like an owner wanted one guy, because with Brian Flores supposedly saying that he wanted Justin Herbert after he got fired, and it's coming out that Frank Reich possibly wanted to go C.J. Stroud. And then, like, there's a bunch of stuff going on that the Texans supposedly leaked a bunch of information about C.J. Stroud, a bunch of negative stuff because they knew for sure that that Frank Reich was going to want to take him. But and then that throws another wrench too. You guys talked about it. It was like, it doesn't make sense when you trade away your number one weapon to get a quarterback and you leave him with no weapons, right?
Yeah.
How nice would it have been for him to be the one dumping off those screens to DJ Moore instead of Justin Fields?
DJ Moore and Adam Thielen would have been a decent little 1-2.
Right.
I mean, at least to a point where you can kind of say that they have a decent receiving core in the NFC South.
Yeah.
A contending receiving core.
Right.
Just on that end.
I mean, just to give the guy some help, and and then you also have Miles Sanders, who's also underperforming, right? Everybody thought he was going to have a good year. He hasn't been doing anything, right? So you really, and then you don't have a big name on defense other than Burns, right? That's probably the only guy that you can say like this is a good dude.
J.C. Horn. J.C. Horn at corner. The crazy part is in all this is that out of all the divisions, that's probably the one that's a toss-up right now.
Right.
Still.
Yeah, right. Because who has the best record? Is it the Falcons or?
Just now the Falcons at 5-6.
I mean, what are the Panthers like?
1-10. I mean, if the Panthers
They're 5 games away.
If the Panthers won out, they would need help.
Yeah.
But they'd be contenders in this division.
One win and they're still kind of in it,
Yeah.
Right.
That's the crazy part. That the best team is what, 5-7? You said
5-6.
5-6.
They're only 3 games back from
Jesus.
The Bucks 4-7. This is the NFC East from like 4 years ago.
Oh yeah. Was it that the COVID year?
Yeah, I think so. Where 8-9 got in.
So you want to talk about Staley?
Yeah, let's talk about Staley.
Well, before you get into Staley, now, because we were talking about the Panthers, right, and the trade they made and how bad they're playing, and how now that leaves Chicago in a weird situation where you're holding, as of now, the number 1 overall pick, right? Who knows what happens later on? Maybe the Panthers turn it on. Do you guys have them on the bump this week against Tampa Bay? You have the bump after you fire your head coach, right? It's almost like 100%.
I don't think so.
Right? And then, so that's another thing. Now, do the the Patriots, Bill Belichick and the Patriots, are they going to go ahead and secure that number 1 overall pick, right? And so at that point, what does Chicago do? Do you trade away Justin Fields? Do you hang on to him? Do you trade that pick away, collect more picks? But then you also have the same GM and head coach that made the trade last year, and they're in their situation that they are this year too, where they're not playing that great, right? And then Justin Fields isn't even playing that great. He hasn't been 100% proven, right? So, like, if you're Chicago in this situation and you do end up with the number 1 or the number 2 overall pick, what do you do?
I'm probably trading it to go get Harrison Jr. And you trade down to like the 3 pick or the 4 pick. Let's just say the Patriots end up getting the 3 pick. I would trade it to that. I'd take my receiver, and then I would sprinkle in a couple offensive linemen. I like Justin Fields. You guys don't really like Justin Fields as much as I do. I just think that O-line is bad, and they need some help. It just doesn't help that his head coach isn't that great either. There's just a lot of bad situations, but I wouldn't give up on Fields if I was Chicago.
Well, I think the thing to look at here is how Eberflus is a defensive guy, right? So he's not developing Justin Fields. And then there's been talks about how you have the top 2 picks. Maybe you can actually get another top pick or package it and send Fields away so he can be like someone's going to take a shot on him, right? Because he's still young. But you can parlay him into like getting another draft pick, and starting brand new with maybe 2 first-round picks and maybe 2 second-round picks, and just completely trying to revamp the offense, right? Or use half of them on offense and half of them on defense.
I'm sure Bill Belichick would love to have his option at the first overall pick. Mm-hmm. I said my piece. I would keep Fields and trade down and still get Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, I would try to trade down and try to build that offense around him because he seems to have it at times. Because when he's going, Yeah,
I think he's really good. He's got a lot of tools. I just think it's been hard for him to develop because of how bad of the team he's on. I see Chase Young having to have the same struggles that Justin Fields has had. But Justin Fields has shown glimpse. Young just hasn't done that yet.
Oh, you mean Bryce Young?
I'm sorry, Bryce Young. Yeah.
But yeah, that's my thing is that you guys said, okay, so then you let go of Matt Eberflus, right? You bring in an offensive guy who's this hot young stud of an offensive coordinator, right? You bring him in. You maybe Detroit's offensive coordinator to help develop him because you see what he's done with Goff, pretty much revive his career, right? He's got him playing almost at MVP caliber numbers. Or do you go ahead and you just clear house? You fire Eberflus, you hire your GM because obviously they couldn't handle the trade because they kind of botched it a little bit, right? Yeah, you got DJ Moore, but then you really didn't build anything else around it. I mean, they have who they brought in, Roquan Smith, and then they also brought in not Roquan Smith, sorry, what's his name, Sweat, right?
That
you
move makes me believe that they're not going to rebuild because they were buyers.
Right.
They kept what's his name from Central, Johnson, and they went out and they bought defense, and I think that they're just adding to prepare for the future. They're probably going to go all in on the offensive draft.
So then you hang on to Eberflus, or do you let him go, and then you package Justin Fields?
I'd get rid of the coach before I got rid of the player.
What about getting rid of both?
If you brought what quarterback? I mean, Kirk Cousins is probably going to be the number 1 quarterback free agent, right? You brought in Kirk Cousins.
More than likely, yeah.
Is he going to make that offense that much better? No.
I mean, it's hard to tell. My thing is with Justin Fields,
especially Kirk Cousins coming back from an injury.
If Chicago doesn't trust him to go down the field, I mean, he's awesome with his legs. And I think he's an awesome runner.
What makes you think they don't trust him to go downfield?
Watch the Monday Night Football game. How many screens that they throw?
Okay.
I mean, they never let him go down the field.
And how did they win that game?
Josh Dobbs throwing 4 interceptions?
No, they won that. Okay, they had the lead, and then Justin Fields went out there and won the game. Did he not? And how did he do it? Was it with a screen pass?
He had the one,
or was it a 40-yard throw over the middle?
He had the one throw where Brian Flores decided not to blitz. If Brian Flores decided to blitz, you think he's making that throw?
Well, God, no. He doesn't have time. But
exactly.
But I mean, that makes him a good quarterback. He knows he's got time. He's not going to throw
you're
a little
all
3-yard
in on Justin Fields. I know you're all in on Justin Fields. I'm just super unproven. Maybe he's super raw, talented as dude. Don't get me wrong, but I think when you start seeing what C.J. Stroud's been able to do in 11 games in the NFL versus Justin Fields, who's been there for what?
That Texans team is significantly better than the Chicago team as a whole. It is not just quarterback against quarterback.
You really think they're that,
yes.
Okay.
If you put Stroud with Chicago and Fields with the Texans, I'm sure that the records are still pretty much the same.
So you're saying that like rookies like Tank Dell are completely better than someone like Mooney, or
yes,
Dalton Schultz is better than DJ Moore.
I also told you last year that DJ Moore was mid. Was it last or no? Like it was right before his big game where he had like a 70.
Thursday
the 70 points.
Yeah.
I've always thought he was mid. He's not a top 15 receiver.
He's scratching the surface. He's almost there.
Okay, he's scratching the surface at 15. Cool.
Yeah. But I mean, that's somebody.
Dalton Schultz is also
if Bryce
a great
Young
tight
had
end.
someone like that, right?
Yeah,
you think he'd
you're
probably
right.
be performing
You're
a little
right.
bit better.
And I think that the common denominator there is that one team is better across the table than the other two teams.
Of course, Drew always going down swinging. We're gonna have to
saying.
agree to disagree.
That's fine.
But I'm just gonna continue to call Justin Fields trash.
That's fine. I'm not gonna lose sleep.
Anyways,
over it.
let's go ahead. Let's go into Staley. Someone we can all agree is trash.
Yeah, Tony Romo.
Staley.
Tony Romo. Did you see his quote? Did I send that to you guys? Tony Romo said that there's no way that Staley makes it. I think I sent it to you.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that Staley makes it out at the end of the season.
No, I'm surprised it's lasted this
Yes.
long, right?
I'm sorry, Jeremy. Did you say something? But yeah, thank God someone with some like merit behind it has actually said it, because even in the media, I think there's been a lot of people that are like, is Staley the guy? Question marks. Tony Romo just flat out said he's gonna be fired. Like he will be fired at the end of this year.
Well, it's him. How do you think Kellen Moore's doing then? So is he out of a job then if he's out?
No, because I've seen that offense put up like 30 points and lose games, and Staley's like the defense guy. So I'm gonna chalk that up to him.
But then they put up what they score on Sunday night. It was
20 points.
No, it was less. It was a low scoring game.
10.
They lost 20-10.
Let me pull up their scores.
So it's like
All right, they put up 34 against Miami.
lost.
Hold on. Yep.
What's their record? 4-7.
They put up 24 on the road.
They're 4-7.
Yeah, against Tennessee. They put up 28 on the road against the Vikings. They put up 24 at home against the Raiders, 17 against the Cowboys, 17 against the Chiefs, 30 against the Bears, 27 against the Jets, 38 against the Lions, 20 against the Packers, 10 against the Chargers.
Wait, so
I see some of that, and I'm not looking at the offense.
So their wins are against the Raiders, Vikings. Who else? The Jets. Raiders, Vikings, Jets,
Bears,
and Bears. Those are their 4 wins.
Yes, and they lost to the Lions, but while scoring 38.
So they play good teams.
To the Titans this week 2. To the Titans on the road, put up 24. And there's another one where they put up a lot. And then the Lions, they put up 38 and lost.
So then you think so Staley's out, right? They
Yes.
obviously don't make the playoffs. You think Kellen Moore has a job then if he's out?
I think so. It's 1 year with an offensive coordinator.
But you don't think
And
the new head coach is going to want to bring his own guy in?
He very well could be, but I don't think that the Chargers fire him. Or the owner of the Chargers is going to fire them. I think that the head coach is going to come in and
There was
and make
people
a regime
calling
change.
for the GM's job.
Why?
For leaving Staley around.
That I can see. Sure. I mean, he's honestly on paper he's put a great team out there. I mean, that Chargers offense is a really good offense.
Well, so is the defense. Look at the big names. I mean, you have Khalil Mack, you have
The line's
Boza.
good.
Yeah, well, and then you have what's his name?
Kendricks at linebacker.
Kendricks at linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
You have Derwin James in the backfield. You have C.J. Jackson, right? Who got cut? Right. It's like on.
But then they have Asante Samuel Jr. on there too. So they're loaded at every position.
Well, those guys are getting toasted.
Yeah, they are. And then the
Well,
offense.
who's in charge of the defense?
Well, Staley.
Okay.
But I'm saying, like, if you score 10 points, right, on Sunday night,
100%.
yeah, you got to look at the offensive coordinator too.
Yes. I'm just saying I think that's one bad game. Offense-wise.
I think what's better off if you go, because you have a guy like Justin Herbert, right? I mean, we've seen this formula before where defensive coaches, especially in today's NFL, they're not making it that entire run, right? You see defensive coaches, they put good teams together and they get very far. But I mean, you look at the teams that have gone to the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl, they all have been offensive coaches, right? So you have a guy like Justin Fields who is capable of doing anything, right? Now you go ahead and you pair him with an offensive-minded coach. Who knows? Kellen Moore maybe gets the head coaching job. Maybe he goes to somebody else, another young offensive coordinator, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think at this point, you have to go, especially with a guy like Justin Field or Justin Herbert, is you put an offensive-minded head coach around him. You let the defensive coordinator do his thing, and then you just go from there, right? And then whether or not that's going to be Kellen Moore, but if you bring in a new offensive-minded coach, Kellen Moore's got to leave.
Yeah,
right?
100%. If you go out there and you get an offensive coach that his specialties or a head coach his specialties offense, Kellen Moore's gone.
You just part ways with him. I mean, you just shake hands. You did a good job this year.
I could agree to that. I could agree to that as him being out of LA, but I don't think it'll be the GM's decision. I think it's just based off of what head coach you bring in.
Right. It's just, I mean, you have to find a room that's going to mesh with everything.
Right.
And then also bring in a defensive coordinator who's going to be able to turn the names that they have on defense.
And I think you're kind of right. We don't know. I mean, what happens if Herbert and Kellen Moore are on the same wavelength? They vibe, and it's, hey, let's keep Moore around. Let's maybe promote him finally to that starting gig.
Right.
And then you go after a defensive head coach.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, we'll see what happens, but I mean, also, I think a defensive coach is going to only take you so far. I mean, look at what's going on with the Bills, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he's the defensive coach, and then you Josh Allen, he has all these defensive coordinators. Dable was probably his best offensive coordinator, and then he dips, and then you see what happened to the development to Josh Allen, right? Mm-hmm. And that's not like Patrick Mahomes, who's got Andy Reid, and showing them the ways, and they're doing the offense together, and then the defense just figures out on the back end.
It seems to be offensive minded coaches win more Super Bowls than defensive minded coaches.
Yeah. So then you just talked about Josh Allen and how his development, right? Well, they got that new offensive coordinator in, right? Joe Brady. Mm-hmm. They let Josh do Josh now. They score 34 points but lose.
Mm-hmm.
And his streak in overtime goes to 0-6 now. And the meme you've seen all week was they changed the rules to give both teams the ball, and you still lost the game.
Still lost. He got the ball first that time too.
He did, and he could have put it away with that Gabe Davis. He threw the in route.
There was twice that happened in crunch time. At the end of regulation, that happened where he threw. Again, he threw inside to both, and both times the receivers went out.
I'm going to give a shout-out to Jake Elliott, though, hitting a 59-yard field goal, game on the line.
Well, you're giving out shout-outs. Might as well give it to the Zebras, too, because they were definitely there.
Look,
they
man,
helped.
But to hit a ball 59 yards in the soaking wet rain, those footballs get heavy with rain,
Impressive.
So I did not think he was going to hit that, and he did, So it is what it is. I think that sets us up for the games this week, because we got a massive matchup with Eagles and Niners, and Thursday let's start with Thursday, though, Seahawks and Cowboys.
Yeah. Seahawks and Cowboys.
You guys can go first.
I mean, it's depending on whether or not Geno Smith is healthy, they can put up a fight. I don't think they'll win, but even with the healthy Geno Smith, I don't think they win this game. They might put up a fight if Geno Smith was healthy, because maybe the Cowboys, they slip up a little bit. It's a Thursday night, but then again, Dallas is home. But, I mean, I'm going to go Dallas all the way, 100%.
Yeah, Dallas is 5-0 at home, so I'm not picking against them while they're playing some of the, some pretty good football right now. So maybe they're going to play a winning team. They're going to finally beat a winning team, so that'll be good. So I'll let Andrew throw in his whole.
Just for the record, is a team who is just slightly over 500. So
yeah. Well, when we beat the Giants week 1, they were 500.
Wait, so if they win, now what are they?
Wait.
What's the Seahawks record right now?
They're 7-6.
6-5.
Oh,
so
6-5?
if they beat them, they're right at 500.
Right.
Yeah, but we played them when they were about 500. It's going to be it is currently 13 straight home victories going into last season. They're going to make it 14 this week. Like you said, Geno's beat up. The Cowboys defense is rolling pretty hot. They're out. They're starting right tackle. Micah likes to come from the defensive left side. So expect triple teams coming from that side. You're gonna end up seeing DeMarcus Lawrence. Hankins got a sack. He had one career sack in like 6 years going into that game last week, and he had 2 because of how much the edge rushers are pulling the attention away from the line. It's gonna be another blowout.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's going to be a blowout because I still think Seattle is a much better team than the Commanders, even though they went back and forth neck and neck last time. I think they're more organized than the Commanders or than like the Giants or the Jets. But I mean, look at the upcoming games that the Eagles or that Dallas has. It's not
Cowboys
like an easy walk.
Cowboys are at least putting 30 points on Seattle this week.
The best thing about the game tomorrow night is that the Seahawks will have the best uniform tomorrow night. They're wearing their blue throwbacks with the gray helmets. Those are nice.
Shits are ugly, too.
No, dude. Those are some of the better throwbacks with the neon trim and the silver helmets. Those are nice.
The Cowboys Thanksgiving uniform. Spectacular. Navy with the white shoulders. Love it.
It's like I wonder what other team wears blue uniforms with the silver helmet.
The Lions.
Another team then. Cowboys.
Well,
I mean, the silver helmet. Sometimes they wear the blue, right?
Navy blue, yeah.
But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's move on to the other games. Let's see.
Oh, is that Cowboys across the board? You never told me what.
We're giving them the Cowboys jinx. I mean,
and then we go back to some boring ass primetime games.
What? Well, I mean, yeah, these are some boring ass primetime
Dude,
games.
I mean,
100%.
You're telling me that 6 weeks ago they couldn't realize that the Niners-Eagles game was going to be a fucking
Well, let's
good
go
game?
ahead. Let's pick on the Eagles-Niners game.
Go
Let's
Niners.
I'll let you guys go
bang,
first.
bang, Niner gang.
Well, okay. You going to San Francisco? Oh, well,
Yes.
of course you are. Go ahead. So say why.
Oh, well, because I need the Eagles to lose.
Okay, but like, what matchup do you think that they're gonna win, or what should we look for?
The Eagles' defense is caca. They are not good.
Okay.
They are their best aspect is their defensive line, and if they can't get to Brock Purdy, then Brock Purdy is just going to do what Brock Purdy does. He's going to give it to the one of the 18 weapons that he's got, and that secondary won't be able to keep up. It's gonna be can the Eagles offense keep up with the Niners offense? And the answer to that question is no. The only chance that they got to keep up with that, if it's 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, then I put my money on the Eagles. That's it.
All right, I'm gonna pick Philly just for the simple fact that everyone's pretty much like picking against them. They're actually they're the underdog at home this week. San Francisco's favored by 3.
I thought it was a point.
It keeps going. It keeps jumping up and down.
I'm sorry, German. What was that?
Oh, okay.
Anyways, it keeps jumping up and down. But yeah, that's gonna be interesting. And they've been talking smack since last year. San Francisco was upset because they didn't get to finish the game with Purdy. Eagles took their shots and said stuff after like, well, that's what the game is. It is what it is. So this game probably get chippy. The line of scrimmage is going to be fun to watch. Hassan Reddick against Trent Williams. Watching Darius Slay to see if he can, who he's going to pick up. Is it Debo?
Yeah, which guy
is he? Are you gonna stay out on Ayuk? George Kittle, is he going to carve up the middle of the defense? What is he going to do? So that defense, like you said, they got it kind of exposed last week, giving up 34. But
last week, you look at some of their games; they've been giving up a lot of points.
Yeah, but somehow they keep winning games. So I'm gonna
the
roll.
refs.
Okay,
I'm telling you.
So
dude.
then I'm sticking with that. So if they're
if
they're at home, they get calls. So I'm banking on.
Dude, they get calls on the road too.
So I think it's going to come down. I think it's going to be pretty similar to what we saw last week out of Philadelphia. And it's going to come down again to whether or not Jalen Hurts can put the team on his back again and go down the field and score when it matters. Because I think the Niners and Brock Purdy, they're going to do what they do, and they're just like it's kind of weird watching the Niners because they're like super mechanical, right? There's just like the timing's there. It's kind of like watching the Eagles, right? The timing's there, everything's moving, the running game gets going, and then once they get the running game going, then they start popping those play action passes. And Purdy's he's so accurate, he's so cool. Especially under pressure. But I think it's going to come down to whether or not Jalen Hurts can be an MVP, dude. And I think this is going to solidify his MVP status if he goes out and he wins this game. And I think
game. I think it's the game
or the next
after.
2 weeks. Next 2 weeks,
yes.
Depending on how he performs, it's going to be detrimental of whether or not he's going to win MVP. Because I mean, you showed us that comparison of Drew Brees' numbers, what was like in 2011,
where he was runner up.
Where they
blow
right.
They blow Jalen Hurts' numbers out the water.
the thing is, Jalen Hurts, what he does with his legs, right? It's just all the extra stuff.
I mean, he runs 1 yard, 1 yard, 1 yard.
The tush push, yeah, that
1 yard.
Just win MVP based off of the one play.
Yes,
but it's just like you watch that game against Buffalo. I like to think that the Niners defense is a little bit better than the Buffalo's defense, and I think the Niners are best when they're playing that zone defense in the back end where you just you play like a cover 3 shell, nothing gets behind you, and you let those pass rushers up front do their thing. And if you're able to take away his legs, you're able to take away DeAndre Swift. I mean, you're not going to leave. I don't think they're going to leave AJ Brown one-on-one. Right,
AJ Brown's been very quiet the last couple of weeks.
Maybe Ward shuts him down. He shut down DK the other day, but I think it's a different task.
I've seen Ward,
but he also gets burned.
I've seen him play ass more times than I've seen him play lockdown.
Exactly.
So that's why I was like, I wouldn't put my eggs in that basket.
I don't think they're gonna go man.
I wouldn't
because of when you have AJ Brown and then you have Devontae Smith and then you also have Jalen Hurts' legs, so you can't have DBs turning their backs running downfield.
I think lately teams have just taken away AJ and dared the Eagles to win with someone else, and that's why you see a couple of touchdowns recently with Smith.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about, how they focused solely on taking away A.J. Brown, and Devontae has pretty decent these last couple weeks. But let's talk about this 6-game stretch that the Eagles are in, this gauntlet. If they get through this, like, I agree, like, you have to look at Jalen Hurts as an MVP contender if he goes 6-0 against – he already beat the Cowboys, then he beat the Chiefs, then the Bills on Sunday. If the next 3 games are the Niners, Seahawks, and Cowboys again, that's a pretty tough 6-game stretch right there. So
they go Niners and then Cowboys.
Oh, Niners, Cowboys, Seahawks.
Yes.
So that's if he can get through those 6 games and they're at what 12 and 13-1, that's pretty significant.
I do really think the winner of that, assuming the Cowboys don't implode, the winner of the Cowboys-Eagle game will be the MVP. Because if Jalen Hurts beats Dak in Dallas, that's impressive. What he did against the Cowboys at home, not that it was a good game, but it wasn't anything impressive. If he can go to Dallas and win, then I'm going to give him my MVP vote.
I feel you're coming from. What?
Say it again.
If he goes to Dallas and wins, I would give him an MVP vote.
You've heard it here, people.
Yes.
You've heard
but that's
it here.
not going to happen. Dak is gonna beat Jalen Hurts at home, he's done before.
That's a fun matchup, watching them back and forth. But I still don't think Dak ever gets MVP voting. I think just because he's Dak, and he's easy to trash on.
I think what's going to happen if Dak in the next 6 games wins 5 of the next 6, and beats the Eagles in that 5, I think he's MVP.
If it's not Jalen, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes or
it's not Mahomes. Mahomes hasn't done. I mean, he's winning games, but he's not Mahomes of old.
But what if they win out? You look at the Chiefs' schedule, right? The rest of their schedule. If they go and they win out, they're 7-3 right now. They could easily end it with they go. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead first.
No, yeah. I mean, they could. I mean, they don't have that hard of a schedule because then they go Packers, Bills, Patriots, Raiders, Bengals.
They got the Bills still?
Yeah, they still have the Bills, and then
Loss.
Chargers. So, I mean, if they go in and win out, and then he starts putting up numbers again, and he looks like his old self, and then that's when we're scared of Mahomes the most.
You have a point there, but I don't think what Dak has put in too much work so far throughout the entire season.
If Rodgers comes back, give the MVP to him. It's about him anyways, right?
Can Aaron Rodgers may be the comeback player of the year
and the MVP?
Season? Can he be the comeback player of the year?
That's not a far stretch, right? That could be a.
You're gonna steal it from DeMar Hamlin like that?
That'd be wild. But we're on the topic of MVP, right? Do you think they give the MVP to Dak? Like, say they beat him, but somehow end up in the wild card. Does he get the MVP still, even if they beat Philly and somehow can't catch him?
I think that's really tough because assuming if I think you make a good point. I don't think that they can give it to Dak if Jalen wins the MVP or if Jalen wins the division. Which is tough because now I'm saying that Dak needs help to win the MVP from other teams. Because he would need to win the division. I think they need to finish the same record, and I think that they will.
I just don't think that the MVP voters are going to vote for Dak, and it's just because he's Dak. I mean, nothing against him. He's had an awesome year. He's probably had the best year of his career.
Who has proved more valuable to their team, Dak or Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, but that's not. I don't think. That's,
I know, but I'm just answering the question.
No, yeah, I think Dak has probably been more valuable, but I don't know. That's all I was like when the Cowboys played
I
with
think
Cooper,
we find out in the next 6 games that it's Dak Prescott.
The next 2 games for Jalen are huge.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not, I mean, if he comes out of that Niner game healthy and he's rolling and who knows, he might blow out the Niners. He might lose to them. It might be a close game and he still pulls it off or he doesn't pull it off. Even if he doesn't win, I think these next 2 games, I still think he's the front runner. There's like I just don't think they're gonna give it to Dak. And then it's honestly, I would go probably Mahomes over Dak because you can make the argument that Mahomes is more valuable to his team than Dak is to the Cowboys, right? Same thing with Lamar because we've seen what happened last year with Lamar went out.
Mark Andrews has proved to me he's the most valuable guy on that team.
I mean, who knows? So, but yeah, I mean, I guess we'll go from there. And then DeMar Hamlin winning comeback player of the year. You think that's a given?
That's a given.
Or is Russell Wilson starting to sneak his way back into relevancy?
You're right there. I think he's got a good chance.
But
if DeMar Hamlin did not die and then come back to life and play in an NFL game, it's already predetermined.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone's going to lose sleep over him winning comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
I know because it's the feel good story, right? Everyone's gonna I get it. If this was just I don't know, like he tore his ACL and then did what he did, no, Russ wins. But this dude straight up died. He was dead.
He was dead on the field.
He was dead, and he's played in 2 games. So,
we didn't even make a picks for these primetime games
because they're irrelevant.
We got carried away with the Niners.
Who cares?
And Philadelphia again. Let's go ahead.
Chiefs gonna beat the Packers by like 6. For whatever reason, it's going to be close, and the Chiefs win by 6.
Okay.
And then
I'll go Chiefs.
This is just I too also tried to figure out why they left this game on, but it's just so Chris Collinsworth and the rest of the country
can talk about Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, here's a guy,
The other day when I was talking to Patrick Mahomes, he was telling me how he loves to play in Green Bay and how this is his second home to him.
Yeah, so
if he says that exactly,
it's actually his first ever trip to Lambeau.
Hey, yeah, so like Andrew said, they'll probably get down early. Somehow Green Bay's going to come out hot, and here comes Mahomes. The Chiefs have been, kind of playing with fire lately. They did it with the Raiders on Sunday, got down 14-0, and then here comes Mahomes, outscores them 31-3 from the rest of the game on out. So, yeah, Chiefs, but probably narrow.
I think it's a one digit game. So whether it's 9 or 2, they win by less than 10.
Yeah, and I don't think the NFL's met their Taylor Swift quota yet, so they got to show her more.
Yeah.
Let's go on to Monday night game. Another boring Monday night game.
Bengals and
Jaguars. We have to watch another backup quarterback on prime time.
Love to see it.
But I'm gonna go Bengals on this one, man.
You're gonna go Bengals?
I think I'm gonna go Bengals.
I watched a lot of that Jags Texans game. And I was kind of impressed by the Jags because it reminded me a lot of like the Eagles wins. It's like, did they really do anything in this game? Yet somehow they kept scoring.
They kept the Texans in it for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but I mean, they also they never took off. But every time the Texans scored, it's like, okay, well, we'll go down and we'll score 2.
They don't
and there's
put
nothing
teams away.
It wasn't anything flashy. They didn't. Their offense, like Trevor Lawrence, didn't put the team on his back. He wasn't throwing a bunch of deep balls. It was kind of like you kind of forgot that they kept scoring.
Yeah.
But somehow they did. So I don't know. I'm gonna go. I don't trust the Jags, but I'm going to assume they're gonna beat this backup quarterback.
Yeah, I'll probably take the better quarterback. So I'll go with the Jags here, but. I don't know. Maybe German might be on to something here. So, I'll take the Jags though.
All he said was he's picking the Bengals.
It's
Like,
just
yeah,
okay. It's just the Bengals. They're stifly, dude, and they're stingy, especially on defense. They're a nuisance, especially on prime time, dude. We've seen them play prime time games and where they're just like they just bug the shit out of the offense. And if Trevor Lawrence can turn it on the way he did last week, like you guys said, like I mean, they're moving the ball down the field. It doesn't look like they're like having these big plays, but they're dinking and dunking. And then, they were able to not necessarily shut down C.J. Stroud last week, but they bottled him, right? And they bottled him when it mattered. And then when their kicker missed it, it was like a 57-yard field goal, and it's just like, oh man, it was just heartbreaking. It looked like it was going in. It looked like we were going to overtime because it was a great game, definitely entertaining. But yeah, we'll see what Trevor Lawrence is able to handle this Bengals defense. They're stifly, dude. And like that's the thing is like I wouldn't count them out completely.
Yeah, but Browning didn't show me anything that like shows me that he can
That
go on the
he's
road and win the
dude.
game. Yeah.
And then, dude, Jamar Chase has been just completely disappointing. Yeah, given your quarterback has been hurt, you're playing with a backup quarterback. But how many times have we seen other big-time receivers perform without a quarterback?
Imagine all those guys that took him in the first round, fantasy football.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Insane, dude. Just absolutely devastating. So he can complain and whine all he wants, but just like fact of the matter is, dude, it's like you're still healthy.
It's like AJ
You
Brown.
have to perform. Right. All right. I think we're good there, man. I guess we'll go ahead and close out.
OC, you got anything else to say?
You got to raise your hand, dude.
Ask permission.
He gives us the finger.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy football this week. Catch me for the first time in my entire life rooting for the Niners.
Nice.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Bang, bang, Niner gang.
Yeah, we'll end with that one.
I'll play that on a loop.
That's going to be our soundbite for the rest of the year.
Okay.